Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, glad to have you here. Oh look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Good to see you. Welcome to the morning grind. I hope that everybody is feeling good this morning. I'm feeling much better today. Chilled a bit last night and definitely worth it. I'm feeling better today. I was up, back and working and getting working on scripts and things like that this morning. I was seeing lots of activity here in the chat. Let's see. Hey, Draco and Carl Make Stuff is here. Hey. Yep, we're talking, still dealing with the time change this morning, right? So I am at the right time, right? Yeah, okay. So I'm at the right time. Headless chicken time changing morning, everyone. These have inspired really great conversations. So I really like these. I like the conversations. I like the ones that do that. So let's see here. Yeah, we've been going over a bunch of that, trying to figure out exactly what it was that is so terrible. I'm gonna have to get my coffee over here in just 1 second, Mike. I can hear my coffee percolating over there, so I'm just going through here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Oh, good morning, Tomocrat. Good morning, Zero Theory and James Bacon. So I've got to, I was even trying to find the document that we're going through. We are looking at the Dark Sun campaign setting, and we've actually gotten into the rule book. We went through the lore book and basically looked at the society and also the monsters that exist within Athos here. But then we started, why can't I find... my books here. I don't understand why they've gone. But anyway, hang on just one second. Let me grab my coffee and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, sorry about that. I got Witch's Brew this morning. So why don't we do a bit of breathing and sipping, and then as soon as I find my PDF, we will start with the Dark Sun. I have no idea what all of a sudden happened to it. AD. About why all of a sudden it's not indexing and letting me find my book. All right, let's handle that just 1 second. Let's breathe and sip. 2 inhales, 2 breaths, deep inhales, 2 deep inhales, complete exhales each time, and then take your favorite sip. It'll make you feel better. It really will. It's going to help. It says something supposed to like changing the ratio of oxygen to carbon dioxide that you're working with. So that's good. So it's a good time to do that with everybody and then take a sip of your favorite beverage. Okay, coffee hot right there. Coffee just percolated. Okay, so now I've got to find my PDFs. I had them yesterday. Well, that's kind of weird. Do I have to re-download them? What bizarre thing to have happened. I didn't like accidentally get rid of them yesterday, did I? And of course, drive-through RPGs being slow. Okay. Oh well, we will just re-download. Sorry about this, people. Anyway, while that's working, I will go back over here to the... actually, I don't think we need all this. We actually just need the rule book. Let me try just downloading. No. Just the rule book. That'll be faster. I hate it when things don't work quite like you want them to. Sorry about this. Nico, yeah, I thought you would be Nico Save on Discord. We should, in fact, I can put out the link to the Discord server. I thought that I thought that because of the similarity, the first 4 letters, that would be you. Hey, the last Phoenix. Hello, everybody. Maybe so. Let me come over here and go to the Discord server and put out a link. I'm just about ready, I think, to just make a permanent link to the Discord server. Most of the time, everybody in the Discord server is somebody who's been over here on the live streams. But I think we can invite some other people. And then also, Daniel says, I'm not me on Discord. But then also, if you want, we're going to be comparing how different worlds. God, it's taking a while on Drive-Through RPG. We're going to be comparing how different worlds function over here on YouTube. I was also experimenting with some shorts. You probably saw that I posted several shorts over the last couple of days here on this channel, and people seem to have really liked those. So I'm going to post some more today. They've gotten views because YouTube, I think, is supposed to be, YouTube is saying, hey, we want shorts. We want shorts. So I was working on that, and they seemed to spark some conversation. There was a lot of comments and things like that around them. So I'm going to try some more. So we're just going to see what exactly it is that YouTube wants. And I also like working with the shorts because I've been experimenting with different techniques for storytelling, for visual storytelling, and actually being able to do some things that I had not been able to do previously. And so one of my experimental ones was the Black Cipher, or the one that I'm putting stuff out experimentally on right now is the Black Cipher Paranormal Horror. And, I don't understand. We're going to analyze this together at some point because like some of those, the ones from the Black Cipher, which is our stories about paranormal alien horror, some of those will go to 1,300, 1,400, 1,500 views. Others of them will have 2. So it's really hard to tell. I don't have any idea what makes something go on YouTube other than quantity, right? So I just figured that, well, if we do several of these different worlds, I would actually also put the, I should show that. I should put the Unspeakable Tomes channel art went up yesterday as well. Like the history and lore behind worlds, but also some of the stories in them. History and lore and stories. God, this download is taking a while. Maybe it's about to go. Just 1 second, everybody. I'm sorry. So the Black Cipher is right there, but there is also, let me go ahead and find the Unspeakable Cults. That's the one I'm going to do next, because I'm going to do an intro video and then about 10 shorts for each one, and then cycle. Because, I went in the Tales of Rabavania down a deep, deep rabbit hole in the Tales of Rabavania. I spent a lot of time working on the Tales of Rabavania, and didn't exactly get where I wanted to be with it because the stories that I were writing kind of got bounced and vetoed for a good reason for a mentor who's working with me out in LA. So I've got to completely rewrite them. So I wasn't nearly as far in the story writing as I wanted to be. Because by now I would have thought that I would have been sharing Tales of Rabavania stuff. But because of that, I didn't get to move on to work on a variety of different things. So now I'm going to try to do a faster cycle through the Dark Cipher, the Black Cipher, which is sci-fi paranormal horror, the Unspeakable Cults, which is the Cthulhu mythos, like fantasy, dark fantasy, and then Theophany, which tells the story of the fall of Lucifer, and then Rabavania, which is the chivalric world of medieval rabbits. I'm going to go in that order because I'm trying to upgrade my skills a bit from the Black Cipher to the Unspeakable Cults, and then I'm going to try to use that knowledge to do Theophany because I want to use that knowledge to try to even do a better Theophany. And then I think that Rabavania is going to be the most complicated right now because the characters are non-human. So hopefully by the time I've done a round in all 3 of those, then when I do a set of videos in Rabavania, I can do even better. Come on, downloads. You really don't need to zip one file. You don't Drive-Through RPG. That's so weird that all of a sudden they're gone. We'll have them here in a moment. But here, sorry about this, everybody. Let's go over here. The last Phoenix says, I don't think the statistics can be reliable. If someone posts one on Creepypasta Reddit, it will probably get a lot more. Do you have any info on embedded videos? Yeah, you get information on embedded videos. So if somebody were to post something someplace, you'd be able to see where the traffic comes from. I mean, well, if you can't, I mean, first of all, if you can't trust the stats, which maybe you can't, then really all hope is lost, right? Because otherwise you really have no data and no data on your on what it takes to drive anything anyway. So maybe the data is not reliable. Maybe YouTube is just sending you whatever it wants to send you as far as your data analytics goes. But then that doesn't really help if you're trying to actually, if it's presumably it's giving you that data analytics so that you can use it to help figure out what people like and what people don't like on channels and things like that. So if you can't trust it, then why would they give it to you? So I guess I don't have any choice but rather to trust it. But yeah, if it all of a sudden went up like, a couple thousand views or something like that, then you would know, wait, why did that happen? Well, it does say that all of a sudden I had 2,000 views by something embedded on Reddit, or the traffic came in from Reddit or something like that. So yes, you should be able to track that down. Pick said it well. Watsy's pushing for more and more OP, overpowered, heroic fantasy and sanitized saccharine settings that are so clean, unoffensive that they don't need heroism. Yeah, wasn't that was a really great comment? I remember something like that in was that on one of the shorts? Have you read Stephen King's On Writing? Knowing his routine helped me establish my own. I have not read Stephen King's On Writing. James Bacon says, from there, I would be able to set realistic expectations and deadlines. The Last Phoenix says, yeah, I meant that the algorithm alone is not the driving force. Oh, yeah, by not trusting. Yeah, well, I would tend to agree with that. The algorithm alone is not really something that you can base. Oh, it looks like we do have something downloading now. Okay, I got 52 seconds until I have my file. I'm sorry, people. Yeah, the algorithm itself is not something that you can really base, I don't think, any kind of like business development or something on. If you're trying to actually start something like that on YouTube. I was watching other people with talk about that with regard to how difficult the YouTube algorithm is, which seemed dreadful to me, because you're not really able to know what's driving your views, or actually you're not able to rely on YouTube to get a reliable number of views. So you're not able to actually know how many views you're actually going to have, which makes it difficult to sell advertising and so forth. And Paul Chatto and I talked about that, and how there were different models that YouTube could be using that would actually make things easier on everyone. But for different reasons, they are, or whatever, they are not. Giving people access to, there we go. Actually, the world's giving people access to the ad system, so that if you're trying to sell ads, instead of having to do like the ad reads and stuff, if you could actually embed your own ads, that would be better, because then you don't, then you could just let them run until they get the required number of views, for instance, that your sponsor asked for, or that you were sold, or something like that. Anyway, Paul Chatto and I talked about, if you look up the videos with Paul Chatto, the interview with Paul Chatto that I did. Hey, Neutromancer. Okay, we're finally ready here. Man, I hate it when I'm... Oh, Pick was a meme on the Discord in D&D. Zero Theory says, I'm sort of burnt out on high fantasy in general. I want those low-tech and gritty worlds now. I have not gotten... I need to watch more on Shadow Dark, because I know people are all about it right now. I don't think I backed it yet. I need to back it yet. Oh, James has been getting into... What do you think about that? Because see, that's one we need to get into here. It seems like one we need to explore that in an Omine. What do you think? Okay, so let's go over here. We're finally ready. So we are here. We were looking at the table of contents here in the rule book. So, and this rule book we found out basically tells us how things change from the standard player's handbook. And we have come across a few different things, even things like stat generation, the different ways that different classes work, and also some new classes and some of the classes that are not available in Dark Sun, like Paladins are not available in Dark Sun. And we were about to go, so we have done ability scores, player character races, player character classes, alignment, proficiencies, and we're about to start money and equipment. And hey, who doesn't like money and equipment? So Chapter 6, money and equipment. So let's begin. To understand commerce and equipment in Dark Sun, one must understand that Athos is a metal-poor world. In game terms, all metal items, swords, armor, coins are worth considerably more than other AD&D worlds such as Krynn and Oerth. Virtually all Athasian king states issue coins minted in tribute of their Sorcerer Kings. However, some independent dwarven communities and some wealthy merchant families might mint their own coins when the precious metals are available to them. Though the currencies vary, a gold coin minted in Tyr might be a bit heavier than the century-old coins that bear the Roharian family crest. They are all under the standard exchange rates given in the player's handbook. On Athos, 100 ceramic pieces, CP is ceramic pieces, equals 10 silver pieces, equals 2 EP, equals 1 gold piece, equals 1/5 of a platinum piece. Ceramic pieces and bits. The most common coins used throughout Athos is the ceramic piece. Ceramic coins can be manufactured by the most common clay of Athos, then glazed into specific colors and kilned to discourage forgery. The molded shape of ceramic pieces allows them to be broken into 10 separate pie-shaped pieces. Each of these bits is worth 1/10 of a ceramic piece. Well, now, how does that work? How does a ceramic coin in a world like this maintain value? That really seems like it wouldn't have a whole lot of value. What things are worth? The equipment lists in the player's handbook show not only how much each item costs, but what item is worth in a typical AD&D game coinage. On Athos, the relatively rarity of metal increases the value of metal items. Coins themselves are worth more, which actually that was brought up in the chat when we were taking a look at the Type H Dragon Horde of the Dragon of Tyr. That would be a massive horde and even more valuable than would be in a typical fantasy setting. On Athos, the relative rarity of metal increases the value of metal items. Coins themselves are worth more, so fewer Athasian coins are needed to purchase things that aren't made of metal. However, metal items, because the scarcity of metal coinage, cost relatively the same number of coins in other worlds. They cost, because of the scarcity of metal, they cost relatively the same number of coins as in Otherworld. When Dark Sun characters make their purchases from the equipment list in the player's handbook, therefore, the following rules apply. So this is taking that into account. That was such a good point, I thought, about the Dragon Horde, that I'm glad that this is actually officially addressed. So how do we actually take that into account? All non-metal items cost 1% of the price listed. Oh, okay. So all non-metal items cost 1% of the price listed. All metal items cost the price listed. Now, actually, did we talk about how many coins and stuff that you started with? I don't remember seeing that in the character classes and things like that. Maybe that's going to come up here, because that would allow you to get a whole bunch of non-metal stuff. But you should have fewer coins, right? Thus, a small canoe, a non-metal item, costs 3 silver pieces, but the longsword, a metal item, costs 15 gold pieces. If an item is typically a mixture of metal and non-metal components, and the metal components could be replaced easily, the non-metal price applies. For example, Athasian chariot makers have found ways to avoid using metal parts to make an equally sturdy chariot, so the non-metal price of 5 gold piece applies. All prices listed in the Dark Sun boxed set or in any other Dark Sun module or accessories already compensate for the rarity of metals. Prices listed in other AD&D game products are not adjusted. The rule conversions apply to them as well. So if it says dagger, that's the metal price, and the bone or stone version is 1/10. It seems to imply that, because we've even talked about how some of the metals, or how some of the parts of different monsters could be used for something like a stone dagger. I think that was specifically drawn out, or specifically called out. It was either a horn or a tooth or something like that. Carl Makes Stuff says Cult is awesome. Carl Makes Stuff says, ha, Nomine was one that I always wanted to try, but never managed to get into it. Cult is remarkably interesting. Haven't actually played yet, but I rolled up a couple of characters. There's some dark spirituality soaked into the setting characters, which I love. Yeah, fiat currency must be minted in official currency. It must be minted in official coinage and whatever. It's a token like paper. Yeah, but I don't think people would use that. For at least most everyday purposes. Maybe if it is officially minted by the Sorcerer King, and the Sorcerer King requires that you pay your taxes in these ceramic coins. But then why would the sorcerer want ceramic coins? You can make jewelry with metal. It has inherent, right? Exactly. You can make jewelry with metal. It has inherent value. You're probably supposed to get like 1% of the money treasure in other settings. So bone-tipped arrows are 1/100th cost of metal ones. James Bacon says, I don't like the way that's written. If metal is rare, the non-metal prices should be standard, then multiply by 100 for the metal priced. Yeah, I think I would have done that differently too. The only reason that I can think of that this would be the way to do it is if you didn't want to change the starting value of the gold or silver, whatever, the coins that your character is starting with. But why not just change that as well? Why not just say, here's the new starting treasure and starting coinage rules? Yeah, I think I would too. Tomocrat says, this always gave me a headache to figure out. I have one character starting out with a vast amount of supplies, far more than any other starting D&D character. Okay, so let's see. Society on Athos exchanged goods and services in 3 ways: coin, barter, and service. Coin. Transactions where goods and services are purchased with money remain quite common on Athos despite the lack of metals. Athos is metal poor, not metal depleted. Coins are readily accepted means of payment, and considering the increased value of coins, are less bulky to carry around. Barter. Barter has the exchange of goods. Barter is the exchange of goods for other goods. No coins change hands. By its very nature, barter is an age-old ceremony of negotiation. Characters in Dark Sun can either enter into simple or protracted barter. Simple barter. In simple terms, characters compare the cost of the items to be exchanged and then match the quantities until they are approximately even. For example, Cullen wishes to exchange his crop of rice for a metal bastard sword. On Athos, Cullen's rice is worth 2 bits per pound, and the metal bastard sword he seeks is 25 gold pieces, which is 2,500. That's ceramic pieces. Cullen would have to trade 12,500 pounds of his rice, his entire harvest, to the weaponsmith in exchange for his new metal bastard sword. The weaponsmith might not be that hungry. Yeah, what are you going to do with your entire rice harvest? If you're the blacksmith, where would you even put it, right? Protracted barter. In protracted barter, dice are thrown and costs recalculated in 3 separate rounds before a final exchange is made. Because of its complexity, protracted barter works best for items that cost more than 100 gold pieces. For protracted barter, the charisma score of the parties involved, usually the player character or the non-player character controlled by the DM, must be known. In the first round of protracted barter, each party rolls 2d6 and adds the result to his charisma score. The higher result wins the round. The winner has talked down the price of the loser's bartered item by 10%. If either party decides to end the barter, it's finished there. If neither party decides to end the barter, it continues for a second round and then to a third. Protracted barter can last no more than 3 rounds. Once entered into, a transaction will take place. Neither party can back out of a deal once protracted barter has commenced. So, for instance, if Cullen, from the previous example, charisma score of 13, were to enter into a protracted barter with the weaponsmith, charisma score 7, he might get a better or worse deal. In the first round, Cullen rolls 7. The weaponsmith rolls a 10. So that's for a total of 20 for Cullen and then 17 for the weaponsmith. Cullen wins the round. He has talked the weaponsmith down 10%, so the metal bastard sword in question is now worth 22 gold pieces and 5 silver pieces. Both men wish to continue into a second round. Cullen rolls 4 plus 13 equals 7, and the weaponsmith rolls 10 plus 7 equals 17. The time means that neither cost has been adjusted. In the third and final round, Cullen rolls a 10, and the weaponsmith rolls a 7. Cullen wins again. He has talked the weaponsmith down to 20 gold pieces for the metal bastard sword, so he must only exchange 10,000 pounds of rice for it. Still 10,000 pounds of rice. Yeah, hopefully it's something you can store. Well, now we do have starting money here. We're about to get to that, so we're going to see how that changes things. Service. The services a character renders, from those of unskilled laborers to the price of engineers, will all have an asking price. So here are our common wages right here. Let me go over to the chat. Well, it said that it's metal poor, not metal depleted, and metal coins are readily accepted as an exchange. So they don't have to waste metal for the smallest currency. They would probably lose money per CP than we do per penny. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that would work. Is that the metal-based currencies wouldn't have fiat value. But still, why would they want to do that, though? I guess that, okay, so I guess you could say, okay, the Sorcerer King is going to, see, things that make good money have value in and of themselves. And so you would have thought that something in Dark Sun would be some kind of small item that is readily divisible, that has some type of value in and of itself. I'm even thinking about the cigarette-based economy of, actually, that would be interesting. If the cigarette-based economy that developed in like World War II POW camps, like what is a good source of currency, something like cigarettes actually is. And you can actually see, I did a paper on this one time. Maybe we should talk about this at some point, on the currency inside virtual worlds and what happens when your virtual currency goes worthless, such as happened in Diablo 2, and that actually it conforms to, wasn't it Milton Friedman? I think it might have been. Who talked about what the characteristics of good money is. And as it happens, the characteristics of what makes good money in the real world directly carried over to the virtual world, because people found something to use as money when the actual gold coins were worthless because you just got them because you were killing so many different demons and getting them. But so you could say, okay, the Sorcerer King here has decided that he's going to mint these ceramic coins, or to But see, they're made out of basically dirt. So I mean, they have no intrinsic value. They don't do anything. Like, you're not actually handing out ceramic bowls that actually can hold something. So you're holding out these ceramic coins that can be broken into multiple pieces. They're fragile because, I mean, they're ceramic. And they're basically made out of dirt, and they're really cheap to make. So the Sorcerer King could say, hey, if you were going to build this bridge for me, I pay in these ceramic coins. And that's just what I pay in. Do you want some ceramic coins? But he's not doing that anyway, right? Because this is a slave-based economy, right? So he's not paying the people who are building that bridge. He just has them enslaved and is forcing them to work. So you could say that, well, hey, a major source of work in the world is the Sorcerer King, and you just kind of have to accept whatever it is that he provides, and that the value of that fiat currency is that, hey, it took a day's worth of me out there building this bridge for this guy to get this ceramic coin. So, or get this particular number of ceramic coins. And so it just is up to people whether or not that they want to accept, like, would you accept your day's labor in exchange for these ceramic coins? Yeah, I mean, maybe we're not supposed to think about this in great detail, but that falls apart. We don't have to think about that anyway, because he's not paying laborers. He's not paying laborers. So what does it matter? Neutromancer says, I think your starting money would be, say, 150 CP instead of 150 gold pieces. Like, what is the problem with just saying that that's copper anyway? What's the problem with having copper coins? Because you could certainly have pie-shaped pieces of copper, because people have made like actually physical divisible metal in the past. So then you would get 1,100 copper pieces would equal 10 silver pieces. But I think that's what I would have done. I would have said 100 copper pieces equal to a silver piece, but that every one of the copper pieces is created so that you can break them into 10 separate pieces. And that would give you a very small amount of copper with which to barter with. Actually, what if you even went 10? What's the relationship between copper and tin? Tin is extracted by roasting the mineral cassiterite with carbon in a furnace at approximately 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. So the earliest use of tin dates to 3,500 BC, which is now Turkey, where it was first mined and processed. Okay, so you do have ancient tin. Ancient metalworkers learned to combine relatively soft copper with tin to form the much harder bronze. Oh yeah, of course, because you need copper and tin to form bronze. I don't know. So you could have done that, but I think maybe just saying that you have the bits, which are 1/10 of a copper piece, maybe that would have worked. Actual rules and roles for bartering is pretty rad, James Bacon says. Yeah, you're actually using the ability score right here rather than the ability modifier, because there is no ability modifier, because this is AD&D. It's just the ability score. Imagine that. Oh, Tomocrat. Hey, wait. Doesn't rice need a lot of water to grow? Yeah, when you're thinking about rice paddies, you're talking about, yeah, a lot of water and terraced and stuff. How can you grow rice in the desert? Grow rice in the desert. We only get rain like once a year, right? Well, I do. The first thing that comes up, it says how to grow rice in the Great California Desert, and also how does the UAE, United Arab Emirates, grow rice in the desert? Rice, well, this says rice grown in the desert using seawater with over double the something. So can you grow rice in the desert? Oh, well, this is some kind of experimental thing. Can you grow rice in the desert? A second experiment of rice cultivation hopes to prove that despite the hot weather, rice can indeed be grown here in the UAE. Huh. Neutromancer says, wait, I meant nobody is in. Most people don't have gold and silver coins. They'll use the ones they have. They have to use the ceramic currency, even if it has no intrinsic value, as it's backed by the government. I still think there's some kind of error here. I think there's something that, hang on, let me fill up I've drunk all my coffee here. I must have been thirsty this morning. Let me grab some more coffee. I think there's still something that we're missing here with the backed by the government. Because I mean, like here in the United States, okay, we've got the fiat currency, and what makes the value of the US dollar valuable? It's that you have to pay your taxes in USD, right? I mean, when it's time to pay your taxes, the United States government requires that you pay it in United States dollars. So you've got to have some United States dollars. That's what makes that valuable, is that you can't give gold coins or frog skins to the U.S. government when it's time to pay your taxes, right? You have to pay it in USD. So that's what makes people want USD. So you could say that here. You could say that because didn't it actually say that the Sorcerer Kings would actually mint coins, metal coins? So if you're a dark sorcerer king lord of the city and you are going ahead and minting metal coins, and you're not actually having to pay for labor because your labor is free. You see, that would be one way to get a fiat currency into the system, is by saying that, hey, I provide work. There's still something weird there, because, hey, I provide work. What are you paying in? I'm paying in this ceramic coin. Well, I don't want those ceramic coins, so I'm not going to do the work. But you would compel people to do the work, but then they're just slaves again. But then you could say that, hey, you have to pay your taxes in these ceramic coins. But why would so if you're not having to put ceramic coins out into the world because you're not having to pay for your labor, you could say you have to pay your taxes in the ceramic coins. But why would the Sorcerer King want ceramic coins? Why would he want those to stack up? He would want to say you've got to pay your taxes in something that's got metal. Just 1 second. Let me get more coffee. Maybe there's something I'm missing there. Joseph Carter says, I wonder if that much rice in practice would belong to the blacksmith, but the farmer would sell it for currency that belongs to the blacksmith. Yeah, Zero Theory says, I don't see rice being a crop in Athos. You're right, Tomocrat. Neutromancer says, China started using fiat money 1,000 years ago. It seems like it seems like a world like this, we wouldn't be operating. It just seems strange in a world like this to be operating with fiat currencies. Let's see. This says the Yuan dynastic coinage. The Mongol founded Yuan Dynasty. This is from 1271 to 1271 to 1368. Also attempted to use paper currency. Unlike the Tang Dynasty, they created a unified national system that was not backed by silver or gold. The currency issued by the Yuan was the world's first fiat currency, known as the jiakaio. The Yuan government attempted to prohibit all transactions in or in possession of silver and gold, which had to be turned over to the government. Inflation in 1260 caused the government to replace the existing paper currency with a new one in 1287. But inflation that resulted from undisciplined printing remains a problem for the Yuan court until the end of the Yuan Dynasty. See, that's another thing. So they did this in conjunction with prohibiting all transactions in silver and gold and forcing all of those to be turned over to the government. So if the Sorcerer Kings did that, I would understand. It's the having both of them coexisting that's difficult. I can't see that the ceramic would be used when the metal coins are also available to be used. But if the Sorcerer King prohibited all transactions in a metal and required all metal to be turned over to him, well, that would be one thing. Now, then we might have all kinds of inflation with these ceramic coins. But that would be a different issue. But that at least I can see something, because then you'd be prohibited from using metal. But you can use metal, so... Vision says, hey, Vision, did you get your package? Your War of Kings package? Sorry I'm late, guys. Played my first Pathfinder game yesterday. I was thinking about that yesterday. As a GM, no less. I posted it to the Pathfinder 2 group and it blew up. Lots of comments and integrations. I just got distracted. Oh, well, that's awesome. So rice, Neutromancer says, rice can be grown in any place like any other crop. Its preferred farming is underwater because it helps with weeds, but it's not required. Nico says, gold was useless in Diablo in regards to commerce between other players. It was still useful to buy from NPCs. Yeah, you still could buy from NPCs, but there were some things that you couldn't buy from NPCs, right? That you needed, that you either had to find yourself or trade with other players. Hey, Toadstool Hollow. Neutromancer says, basically, if you drown rice, rice will be fine, but no weeds will grow to kill the rice. Rice doesn't care about being submerged. That's interesting to know. Eisen Kreutzer, hello. Welcome. Good to see you on the Morning Grind. There are merchant houses that deal in money, and they hold a lot of power. The Sorcerer Kings tolerate them because they provide much-needed trade for scarce resources. Copper is supposed to be rare. Is copper supposed to be rare? We might get to that. Copper is supposed to be even rarer, maybe, than others. That's why we're not using copper bits. Eisen Kreutzer says there's not enough copper on Athos to support a copper coin-based economy. Okay, if that's true, then why would we go to ceramic and not fractional parts of silver? Because it's maybe we need to move on, but it's just hard for me to believe that 100 ceramic pieces are going to get you 10 silver pieces, especially in a world like this. Those 10 silver pieces seem extremely valuable, and yet somebody will trade you basically fired clay. I mean, what is fired clay? Some dirt for 10 silver pieces? I'm not believing it. Nico says the reason copper is cheaper than gold is that copper is more common in the market. And if copper is not common here, then that would be something else. It could be. It could be. So let's see. Maybe it's going to tell us something about copper. Neutromancer says the problem with tin and copper is that it's rarely found in the same region, meaning making bronze needed to be really lucky or trade at it. Tomocrat says, I see Dark Sun as a Bronze Age setting anyway, and I think they use ceramics in some cities. Well, this is... I wonder if... Porcelain money. Porcelain money refers to coins and tokens made of porcelain intended for economic exchange. Most famous are the German Nachtgeld, struck between 1921 and 1923, and the gambling tokens used as petty coinage in Siam with Chinese characters. So the German porcelain Notgeld, I think that's great, Notgeld, the Notgeld, were made between the years 1915 and 1923, in the years before German hyperinflation and a shortage of small change. Most of the porcelain Notgeld were produced for collectors in sets. This special form of coins were struck in Meissen in Saxony in the years 1921 to 1923. Most of the coins were made in red Bottgerstoneware, but also in white porcelain. Some of them were partially gilt, it says. They were issued for the Saxony province in the cities Meissen and Freiburg, and the state of Thuringia in the city of Eisenach. The state of Thuringia in the city of Eisenach, and Silesia in the city of Münsterberg, and Saxony-Anhalt in the city of Quedlinburg. Building on the popularity of these tokens, Meissen continued to strike metals in porcelain and stoneware. So, okay, that's not a historical example. Oh, it is a historical example. It's not a medieval or ancient example. But somebody did think of that. Okay, so we just looked at barter. Let's look at starting money and see what it says there. All PCs begin the game with a specific amount of money. The player should use the starting money to equip his character. Campaign time need not be spent to play out these purchases unless the DM deems it important to his adventure. The following table indicates how much money each character starts the campaign with based on the character's class group. These figures are for starting third-level characters. Oh, yes, so you actually get third-level character money. Characters starting at first level should divide the total by 3. Characters generated as inactive members of the character tree also get starting money. The owning player may equip inactive characters at any time prior to using them as active characters. Money and equipment. Initial character funds. So you get, okay, so this is based, so our starting funds are in CP. So we're actually starting in ceramic pieces. So a warrior gets 5d4 times 30 ceramic pieces. A wizard gets 1d4 plus 1 times 30 ceramic pieces. A rogue, 2d6 times 30 ceramic pieces. So how does that... Let's get out this again. I got the second edition Player's Handbook. This has also been quite interesting. Money and equipment in the Player's Handbook. I bet this tells us. Starting money. Okay, so initial character funds. Actually, it's the same, except for it's in gold pieces. So what it's done is it's just started you with copper, no, not copper pieces, the ceramic pieces instead of gold pieces. Because, for instance, warriors over here start with 5d4 times. Nope, it's changed up. Excuse me. It is a little bit different. So warrior group over here. I'll show you. I wonder why it doesn't let me just... So over here, initial character funds. This time, we are looking at the warrior group 5d4 times 10 gold pieces. And we were looking at 5d4 times 30 ceramic pieces. So our generation is the same over here. Our numbers for generation, because we're multiplying it by 10 gold pieces in the AD&D book, we're multiplying it by 30 CP over in Dark Sun. Yeah, not geld, not plus geld, not meaning needed or out of necessity, and geld being money. Lots of stuff going on. Oh, got War of Kings. Excellent, excellent. Okay, lots of discussion. I'm not going to be able to hit everybody's discussion. A fractional piece of silver would work, but what if you just don't have enough silver for everyone? Yeah, I imagine the ceramic pieces are probably minted in stand. Well, I would imagine that would be whoever is minting them, I would guess would have some type of minimal level of fraud protection, because I don't think everybody is minting. I don't think the intention here was that everybody's all of a sudden minting these copper coins, these ceramic coins at home. They probably have to be stamped in a certain way. And actually, I think the Last Phoenix, because it said that those, and historically those had some kind of gilt on them, were gilded. So is ceramic coin full ceramic, or does it have some type of ceramic inlay? See, that would be one way to at least carry around some fractional amount of a coin, but not having to deal with some teeny tiny little piece if that were some type of inlay. Well, I think it says they do use coins in regular use. See, that's the other strange thing. See, it says transactions where goods or services are purchased with money remain quite common in Athos despite the lack of metals. So it's actually quite common to exchange things with metal coins. Athos is metal poor, not metal depleted. Coins are readily accepted as a means of payment, and considering the increased value of coins, are less bulky to carry around. So it's quite common to pay in metal. Which, if it said that it was not common to pay in metal, then that would be one thing. Well, but Eisen says silver and gold don't have a lot of value on Athos. They serve few practical purposes, and Athasian art are more focused on performance than on artifice and craft work. See, now here's another idea. What if you had something like, in order to give your money something practical, let's say that now we want to play up that. That means I would think that something like copper or even iron coins. I mean, iron isn't worth a whole lot here, but if you're in a metal poor society and you're trading in iron coins, one thing you could do with the iron is melt it down. You know, the coin would have intrinsic value. You could melt that coin down, and a lot of people want iron in order to make better swords or better arrowheads or something like that. Well, like an arrowhead, like a metal arrowhead could become currency. This has been one of my favorite conversations so far. The conversion table is so you can price players' handbook items in ceramic pieces. I think we read the ceramics glaze, but I don't remember seeing anything about it having a metal inlay in this particular book either. Yeah, I said a few times, iron and copper won't be wasted on coins, and like you said, it would immediately be destroyed to make something useful. All right, let's keep going a little bit. 100% of the iron acquired we made into weapons. But see, that makes it seems like that would be something really good to trade with, because it would have something, it would have value, intrinsic value, it's very divisible because you can have fractional parts of iron. Yeah, you wouldn't give somebody like having enough to all of a sudden make a sword out of it would be a lot. So it seems like you would need fractional parts of it. Okay, but starting money. So we're starting with a lot of these ceramic coins. So weapons. The weapons commonly found, we started a bit late today because I had trouble getting this PDF up. For some reason I had lost it, but I'm still interested in keeping going. So I'm going to keep going for a little while longer. To compensate for the brief snafu this morning, the weapons commonly found in the brutal lands of Athos consist of obsidian, bone, wood, and sometimes even metal. The following weapons can therefore easily be made without metal and be purchased for 1% of the price in the player's handbook and used normally. Blowguns with barbed darts or needles, all bows, clubs. So all bows, clubs, all crossbows, harpoons, javelins, all lances, quarterstaves, scourges, slings, spears, sling staffs, and whips. These are purchased at 1% of the price in the player's handbook. But remember, we should be starting with a bunch of copper coins. We're not starting with gold coins. If you start with a bunch of gold coins, yeah, you could just buy everything. But we're starting with copper coins. Oh, God, why didn't I think of this? Actually, these are the same. Because remember, this is the starting gold for a third level, not gold, but starting funds for a third level character. So if you are a first level character, that was starting funds for a first level character in the AD&D book. So a first level character would have exactly the same gold starting funds formula, except for it would be in ceramic pieces instead of gold pieces. This is times 30 because you're starting as a third level character. Okay. Now, you can purchase these things for 1% of the price. I hope they do actually provide. If I were doing this, I would definitely put just a whole new weapons table with all of the new prices in here. A new table of just all the equipment and armor and stuff like that. The remaining weapons, because they can be constructed from a variety of metals, vary in cost, weight, damage, and hit probability. Battle axes, all arrows, all quarrels, dirks and daggers and dirks, darts, footmen flails, footmen maces, footmen's picks, hands or throwing axes, horsemen's flails, horsemen's bases, horsemen's picks, knives, man catchers, morning stars, all pole arms, sickles, slings, bullets, all swords, tridents, and warhammers. The table below indicates the percentage, cost, and weight of weapons and modifiers to damage and hit probabilities for the stats in the player's handbook. So the arquebus is unavailable on Athos. So here we've got metal, cost 100%, weight 100%. Bone, cost 30%, weight 30%. But if it's bone, it has a -1 damage and a -1 hit probability. Stone or obsidian weapons cost 50%. They weigh 75%, but they're 1 damage and -2 hit probabilities. Wood cost 10%, weight 50%, but have a -2 damage and -3 to hit. The damage modifier subtracts from the normal damage done by that weapon with a minimum of 1 point. This does not apply to missile weapons. In the game and text, which weapons should always be referred to? Such weapons should always be referred to with their material and make: wooden broadsword, bone sickle, metal dagger, and so forth, as well as adding flavor to battle scenes. This indication helps the DM keep track of what weapon is being used. Non-metal weapons detract from the wielder's hit probability as well, in the same way as a cursed weapon does. Note the hit probability reduction on the player's record sheet. Non-metal weapons can be enchanted. However, enchantment is cumulative with the weapon's hit probability modifier, in this case a -1 penalty. The net modifier for a bone dagger +2 is actually +1. Obsidian, bone, and wooden weapons are prone to breaking. Whenever a successful attack inflicts maximum damage, there is a 1 in 20 chance that the weapon will break, as per the following example. Bruth is sent to the arena armed with a bone battle axe against 3 unarmed Gith. In his first round, Bruth cleaves through the skull of his first opponent, making a successful attack and brings him down, rolls an 8 on the 1d8 for damage. Unfortunately, the shock of the blow splinters the bone from the axe head. Bruth's player rolls a 1 on 1d20, indicating weapon breakage, leaving him weaponless. Bruth's career in the arena may be brief. So what is this? Whenever a successful attack inflicts maximum damage, there's a 1 in 20 chance the weapon will break. So if you roll max damage, Roll a d20. On a 1, your weapon has broken if it's obsidian, bone, or wooden. Joseph says wood would be quite... Joseph, who, by the way, is a channel member. Thank you very much again. Thank you to all of the channel members who are here. I meant to say that earlier. Wood would also be quite rare on Athos, too. I wonder if things made with wood are often made of bamboo instead. Eisen Kurtzner says that the Sorcerer Kings would not want iron to become easily available, so they would never mint iron coins. Iron means weapons, weapons mean armies and rebellion. You can't make official currency out of something that people will melt immediately upon acquisition. If you want to trade iron things, that's barter. Not only would iron coins be made into weapons, but those same weapons would be traded as money for barter, probably by rate. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And so a small divisible weapon that you could make would be arrowheads. I love how it's all just metal without diversification, like gold and steel swords somehow perform identically. That has been addressed. And in fact, I was thinking about that and I want to look it up. Because I know that in the Dungeon Master's Guide, I believe it has rules for weapons made out of other materials. And of course, it did just give us some rules. So you can't just say, hey, this is a bone sword. It's the same. So it's giving us rules for that. But I do remember there being a table in here, and I'm looking in combat in the DMG, that might tell us what like weapons and armor made out of other materials. So the person might have access to this. Let's just see. Maybe it's under like equipment or something like that. Treasure and magic items. Is there a chapter in here about equipment? Experience, magic, money, and equipment. Yep. I wonder if it's in here. Equipment by time period. Horse quality. Hit points of items. Oh, unusual metal armors. So we do have this. Armor made of unusual metals. We do have weapon quality. Oh, we do have weapon quality in here. So what does it say about weapon quality? We've got, well, exceptional quality, but we're actually talking about worse than not exceptional quality. Worse quality. So weapons of great quality, but what if I've got weapons of bad quality? Well, unusual metal armors. Armor made of unusual metals. With the exception of bronze plate mail, it's assumed that all metal armors are made from a fairly common yet sturdy form of steel. However, this need not always be the case. Since this is a fantasy campaign, there's nothing to prevent armors from being made with rare and fantastic metals. Different metals have different properties which can be taken into account, such as when armors are such as in armors they're using them. Table 27 lists different types of metals and the effects they have on armor class, encumbrance, and cost. This gives us adamantite, bronze. Bronze says that it's a -1 AC adjustment. Gold is a -4 AC adjustment to your armor. Don't make armor out of gold. Iron is standard plus. No, iron is 0 AC adjust, but it increases your weight by 25%, whereas silver is -2 AC adjust, but doesn't adjust your weight. I thought there was a table about weapons, but maybe it was just armor there. James says, I dislike weapon degradation. Josiah Firesnake says, I have broken my weapon so many times in the Dark Sun game I played in. A gold sword would be just about as useful as a chocolate sword. Okay, so let's continue to armor. We're just looking up armor over there. So armor, all forms of armor listed in the player's handbook are available in Dark Sun. They afford the same AC rating described there. Metal armors in Dark Sun. 2 facts on Athos conspire to limit the use of metal armor: extreme heat and the high price of metal. A suit of field plate armor costs 2,000 gold pieces on Athos, the equivalent of 200,000 gold pieces on other AD&D campaign setting worlds. Simply put, a Sorcerer King can either purchase several suits of field plate or build a substantial addition to his city walls. Likewise, the intense heat across Athos' barren surface makes metal armor an unpleasant experience, to say the least. In any daytime combat situation, a character wearing metal armor adds 1 to his thakos for every round of combat beyond the first, and will collapse exhausted from the heat in a number of rounds equal to his constitution score. That is quite limiting. Alternate materials. Many types of armor can be constructed without metals on Athos using more readily available materials. Shields. Shields are mostly constructed with layers of leather stretched over a wooden or bone frame and hardened. Effective shields can be constructed of chitinous materials scavenged from dead insectoids. Although made of alternative materials, shields on Athos come in the typical varieties: bucklers and small, medium, or body shields. Leather armor. Perhaps the most common type of armor used on Athos, leather armor is shaped to the individual wearing it and then hardened. Padded armor. As described in the player's handbook, this armor is made of heavy cloth and batting. Many Athesian warriors prefer padded armor woven from giant's hair. Hide armor. Hide armor on Athos is usually constructed from melicot or braxet hide. Studded leather, ring mail, brigandine, and scale mail armor. These varieties of armor are constructed using pieces of bone and chitin. Chain, splint, banded, bronze plate or plate mail, field plate, and full plate armor. These are types of armor that must be made with metal components, making them both extremely expensive and potentially deadly in the day's heat. So, household provisions, ton of water, 1 silver piece. So, a ton of TUN of water. In most Thasian cities, water is drawn from a collective cistern maintained by the Sorcerer King and his Templars. It is not at all uncommon for the price of water to increase dramatically during dry periods or when the Templars are attempting to extort more money from consumers. Fire kit. Although flint is readily available, steel is scarce on Athos. The standard fire starting kit is therefore uses a bow and sticks rather than flint and steel. Animals, weapons. We've got the Chaka. The Thri-King throwing weapon is more common among the steppes tried. It's a crystal wedge that can be thrown up to 90 yards and, due to its spin and effect upon the air, still return to its thrower. Oh, no, it's just a throwing weapon. It's a crystal wedge, so it's like a boomerang. Thrown up to 90 yards due to its spin and effect upon the air, still returns to the thrower if it misses the target. The Githgra is the Thri-Kreen polearm that has wicked blades at each end. Okay. So then we get into magic. So I guess we'll have to save magic for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday? Yeah, so I guess we'll have to save magic for tomorrow. So I still want to know how the defilers work. Let me see what's going on over here. Carl Makes Stuff says a hardwood sword with a polished edge won't cut very neatly, but it will wreck stuff. Plenty of Polynesian weapons like the pata are along those lines. Stick some obsidian chips in there, and you have a South American matcha hugely. I don't know how to pronounce that. Eisenkrutzer says bronze shouldn't have a negative AC modifier, but it should have an added weight penalty. So also, since 99% of people have bone and stone stuff, metal already makes you overpowered. Thri-Kreen crystal weapons are actually made out of their saliva. Huh. Okay, so we've got magic coming up. Let me go back and see. We've got magic coming up. Then we've got experience, combat, treasure, encounters, NPCs. So there's still quite a bit to go through in this book. Although I think, that was a large, well, it was a fairly large section. There's a lot to say on it, though. Magic, experience, treasure. Probably he'll talk about distributions of treasures and coins and things like that in here, too. Hey, it might even, oh, look, Dark Sun treasure types. So it adjusted that. I was about to say, maybe it adjusted our Dragon's Hoard, because that's when that came up that, hey, a type H treasure is going to be a huge amount of treasure in Dark Sun. But hey, you know what? That dragon has a type H treasure hoard, but it's not the same type H as is in the Dungeon Master's Handbook that we looked up. Look, we've got the first thing it does is say, here's what type H treasure is. So it does already adjust that. Okay, well, there's still stuff to look at, and I'm enjoying this. That was a great talk today. That was really fantastic. I really enjoyed the discussion. Okay, so we will talk about magic starting tomorrow then. Neutromancer says, I think it's to drill into the players and GMs that metal is at most rare and unusual commodity, that people won't look too hard into the quantity of the metal. Okay, so I have finished painting up my Hero Quest Mage in the Mirror stuff, and I'm going to try to clean up my desk here today with the paints. I'm going to try to create a streaming station in there in the living room near the bar area, the bar between the kitchen and the living room. And if I can set that up, that would be great, because it would be nice to have a second place to stream from. It's other than here, so I can use other parts of my house. And plus, I need to set up the living room for streaming dinner and a board game anyway. So stay tuned for more information on streaming. I want to take a look at gear. I've still meant to do that, but I was needed rest over the weekend. And so we'll do like a members only stream, taking a look at modern day adventuring gear. So we will do that soon. I'll be posting stuff to the comments, to the community section of this. And hey, also, if you are here, if you are just found us and you'd like to be part of the Discord server, I would like to post again here the Ravenkeep Discord server, and I would love to have you there. We can talk about all of this and continue and extend discussions there. And I will also be posting things to the Discord server and let everybody know when the next live streams are. Although anything in the evenings, although tomorrow morning we'll be live again, 9:30 a.m. Central Time, to take a look at more Dark Sun. I hope everybody has a productive and creative day, and a productive and creative day, and I hope that you all grind on. Later, everyone.